home equity line is maxed out, and you send them $5,000, okay, and the very next month you need $3,000 back, you can take that back out of the out of the home equity line of credit. No harm, no foul. So you can take your cash flow every month and just send it in against your home equity line of credit, okay, and watch this number head downhill, and you'll be very happy a few years later, okay? A few years later, you will have this down at 0, and this building will hopefully have gained some equity, okay? No, it will definitely gain some equity, hopefully appreciate it as well. So you might have freed up, I don't know, $75,000 here, all right, on paper. We'll talk about that later, all right? Home equity line of credit is your 401k a lot less flexible, okay? In general, when you take that loan out, unless you repay it in full, you can't take out a second loan. So, with my 401k loan, I let them take their money every week out of my paycheck. And I supplemented from the profits from the building. And I stacked it. I stacked it away in a savings account. Okay? Stack it away in a savings account, and you look at what you owe. Your 401k, obviously the principal will go down. Okay? You're feeding back into your 401k. When I reached a point where I think I owed about $18,000, okay? I was at about 18. I was about 16 in my savings. I owed about 18. Here's another good point. With this loan, when you take it out, they're not actually giving you money. You're actually selling your shares of your 401k. So, if you sell on a bubble, okay, and you buy your shares back when the market takes a hit, you buy back a lot more shares. So say you sell 200 shares, all right, just as an example, to get your money out on a bubble, okay? Stock price is high, share price is high on that fund. You want to look at where the Dow is when you want to repay it, and make sure the Dow is down low. Okay, so you might buy back 275 shares. Okay, there you go. That's money for you. Back into your 401k. Merry Christmas. Okay, so two very, very different ways of doing it. I've done them both. I can tell you it is always better to be the bank. The 401k loan is excellent. You just have to time the market a little bit. I know people are going to say it's impossible to time the market. It's not that hard when you're dealing with a mutual fund. If you want to purchase, right now is the perfect time to take money out of your 401k. Okay, things are all bubbled up and share prices are very high. All you want to do is kind of keep a snapshot at loan inception of where the Dow is at and all your stock indexes are at, okay? And if they're here, when you sold, make sure they're down here when you pay the loan back, okay? Just have the discipline. If you can save as much of that profit from that building, okay, and stick that in a savings account. If you do need it, it's there, okay? But I don't like having my money frozen. So if I were to only give them half, and then, you know, I need something back, I don't like having my money frozen. I don't like being told what to do with my money. All right. So those are the first two options. Now, Number 3. This is your refinance. I probably leaned so close to the camera you can see the reflection off my bald head. Refinance. I'm going to turn this a little bit. All right. So for a refi, you have 2 properties, Lee. Now, you got your house, your primary residence, and you've got an investment property. Refinance, very simple. Again, we all know how this works. All right. Interest rates are very low right now. It's probably a good time to refinance. They'll appraise your house. They'll saddle you with a new mortgage. Your payment might not necessarily go up. I just did this on one place, and I took out a considerable amount of money, and my payment went down by $50. Okay, but the old loan interest rate was about 5.5%. Okay, down to 3%. Still, I took out a nice chunk of change. This is very simple and straightforward. So you might be able to get, let's say, for your $250,000 building. Okay, so you're gonna need $75,000. Let's say you can get $35,000 out of your primary and maybe $40,000 out of your investment property. There you go. Now, you got to be careful on this. Here's where you got to really watch your ass. All right. Your monthly payments on any of these options cannot exceed your cash, about half of your cash flow. They shouldn't exceed about half of your cash flow after you've added in overhead and beaten your numbers down. All right. So you should be okay with something like this. I don't know your numbers, but there you go. Sign some paperwork, scan some documents, refinance both places, take your money, go buy your multi. Now, we're going to get into option number 4. All right. Option 4 is the 1031 exchange. Okay. Now, your 1031 exchange is an IRS rule for real estate investors. Okay. We're going to get into this more in the next episode, but I'm going to framework it for you right now. Your 1031 tax, any accountant will know about these things. 1031 Tax Deferred Exchange. All right. So, with your 1031 Tax Deferred Exchange, you can sell your investment property. Okay? So you sell your let's say you sell your single family investment property because the market's hot right now. Maybe you owe, let's say you owe $100,000 lock. All right? You owe $100,000. Oh, we need a couple of zeros there. All right? But the market rate lock on your single family, you can sell this puppy for, let's say, $200,000. Okay? Now, without getting into too many details, it leaves you with about $100,000, right? You got to pay your realtor, state and local taxes, but it leaves you with about $100,000. Now, here's the interesting part. If you take that $100,000 and you identify a building to purchase within the first 45 days, okay? So you got $100,000 from closing, from the day of closing. You got 45 days. And my handwriting's bad on a normal day. Writing on a board, it's not going to improve, guys. 45 days to ID a building. So you ID building, building A here in our example, because you're going to pay $250,000. All right. Your single family sold for $200,000. Your purchase price of your next investment property has to be more than what you sold your first investment property for. Okay? So here, we sold at $200,000. We're buying at $250,000. You can check that box. Okay? You ID'd it in 45 days. You can check that box. Now all you have to do, your accountant fills out some paperwork, you close within 6 months, and you're golden. You put what you walk away with, let's say you put that $100,000 down on that $250,000. You've now deferred the taxes. You haven't beat them. You've deferred them. Okay? So we'll get into it a little bit more. Down the line, you might have to pay taxes on the building you deferred it to when you sell it. Okay? Because your cost basis for depreciation doesn't carry over. Cost basis for depreciation. What the heck are you talking about? So we'll get into that in the next episode. But I want to thank you, Locke, for the really nice comments as well as the questions. And I'm glad I could help. If you have any further questions, feel free to post them in the comments section. Everyone else, hit like, subscribe, and share. I greatly appreciate it. Thanks, guys.